One of your most celebrated and long-running series began with Bring on the Blessings and enchanted readers with a second helping, and 10 bestsellers have followed to date over the 20 years since. Take us back to when Bernadine Brown first came a knocking.
She just showed up one day, this woman with all this money, but I didn't, 10 or 15 years before the Blessing series started. So I didn't know who she was, what her story was going to be. So I just threw her in a drawer. And people asked me, was it Oprah? I'm like, no, it's not Oprah. It's Bernadine Brown. Um, and then I ran across an article in Parade Magazine about an academic in Iowa who'd convinced the United States government to let her have an abandoned Air Force base. And she brought in at-risk kids and foster parents, and most of them were senior citizens, and it was called a place called Hope. So, as an author, you see stuff like that. You're like, okay, I don't know where I'm going to use this, but I threw that in the drawer too. So my agent sold the series without letting me know. She had been on me to write a small town series. And I was like, no, I'm not writing a small town series. I said, I'm content to continue writing these award-winning African-American historical romances, right? And, touring and all that. So after my husband passed in '03, I was up with his mom. And I get a phone call from my agent. And she said, well, I sold the series. And I'm like, what series are you talking about? She said, there's a small town series that, I've been trying to get you to write. Well, I sold it. And here's what, they want as a lead, and here's the money. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm writing a small town series. So then, I had to go back and figure out what this small town series, excuse me, was going to be about, the Blessing series.
How early did the idea come to you to have her buy the town of Henry Adams, which really then itself became a character in the series that followed?
It's also a character in the first book. The characters in my contemporaries, so that means the Blessing series and my romantic suspense, are descendants of my historical characters. Okay, so the Blake sisters, um, the brothers in the Detroit series are descendants of Hester and Galen from Indigo. So, okay, all of my books are connected except one book, and that's the Beverly Jenkins trivia question. And I never give the answer because I want you to read the books. Shameless plug, right? So I had read about every now and then people putting towns up for sale on eBay. And so I wasn't sure what the town was going to be for the Blessing series. I looked at Grayson Grove. I looked at Henry Adams. And the more I thought about it, the more Julys came to the table, which are my Black Seminole outlaws. And they lived in Henry Adams in a couple of the books. So decided to do Henry Adams. And I live in a small town. And so I think about, 1999 was a Great Recession, and small towns were really taking a hit. No infrastructure, many, no infrastructure, not a lot of young people staying around. And I based that on, Henry Adams is based on Nicodemus, Kansas, which was a true place. And I looked at their history. And after World War II, people started leaving. And then by the '70s, there was nobody there. So I wanted to put all of that together. So now my little fictional town in 1999 has no young people, has no infrastructure. They can't pay the bills. So in order to hoping to preserve the history there, they put themselves on eBay, hoping somebody will come in and, take care of the tax bills and all of that. And Bernadine sees this after she gets her divorce money. He's an oil king. They got more money than God, even now. You look at it, yeah, we made $300 million last year. What are you going to do with all that damn money? So yeah, she caught her husband playing the two-back beast on his desk on her birthday. He's supposed to be meeting her for lunch. So she takes that money and, to quote Luke, when much is given, much is expected. And I tell people I would have bought Dooney Burke purses and shoes, but, giving a lot of it away. But, she buys the town and tries to restore it. And we're now 10 and a half books in.
How vividly do you see the town and all of its life going on as you're putting it down on the page?
For me, all of my stories play like a movie in my head. People tell me I write very, very visual. And I write visual because I see it. Um, one of the other writers for my publisher, I don't know if her editor had her read Blessings, I don't know. But she came to me at one of our tour stops and she said, I'm reading the Blessing series. She said, all these people are different. And I'm like, yeah. And she said, well, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. My stories are not of me. My stories come through me. And it's just a matter of, am I smart enough and intuitive enough to get it? They know the story and I don't. I'm a pantser. So I write by the seat of my pants. I don't outline. I just try and keep up, you know?